Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Tyranny. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're chose to join me today for what I believe is the last episode of the series. Man, what a journey. What a journey. Last episode we were declared, last episode we hired, effectively, Tunon to our service. We were not declared the new overlord because Kairos is still around, and I think we are gonna meet her, or him, or both. Mark is over there. I'm not really sure if he's gonna say anything about this whole situation. He tips you a curt nod. Archon? Yeah, we're still the Archon of the Spires. And apparently we're ready to, I don't know, make a new war between South and the North. The Tears and the Northern Empire. Who knows? But we have an edict at our disposal. I'm gonna talk over here to Lady Lucretius because it's been a while. They say you proclaimed an edict of your own. Could that be true, she says?
On it.
Yeah, it is. Where to? Where to? What? Where am I supposed to go? Is it... Well, the journey's gonna tell us. The armies of the north. It has come to your attention that Kairos has made good on his threat. Armies march from the north with only one goal: the utter annihilation of the Tears. So yeah, it's all an all-out war. It's an all-out war. So we're defending the Tears, I think. Fortunately, you have the resonator at the Vendrin well. Oh, that's right. We need to go to the Vendrin's Wellspire and proclaim an edict. That's right. Why couldn't I figure that out on my own? My bad. My bad. Let's go over there. 2 days and 12 hours. Well, the armies take a long while to reach us, so we should be okay. And with that, I think we've been everywhere, including Cacophony, which was the only area that we haven't gone to. Of course, we might have not unlocked other areas with secondary quests and all that, but I don't think so. Also, this journal works really, really well. The journal system for this game, it's flawless. I am really satisfied with that. Okay, and now I need to issue an edict upon, oh boy, the Northern Kingdom. It's true. It's true. The waves of energy radiating from the spire draw you forward, pressing your body and mind to its eager embrace. At the center of this tide, the resonator stands ready to broadcast your voice, echoing your commandments to the farthest reaches of the Tears and beyond. From here, the highest point in all the peninsula, you could, with the sum total of your efforts, project your will far north, past the edges of the Tears, and proclaim your edict as far as the lands of the Northern Empire. I will turn to my companions and say, this probably amounts to a declaration of war against the Overlord. Ready? Verse says, so this is it. We have come a long way since Sagerine ruins. Before this I was nothing important. One Scarlet Chorus killer among thousands, but we're really doing something here. Thanks for letting me tag along. And she turns to the edge of the spire, avoiding your gaze. Barrick does not show any sign of waking up from his numb stupor. He has been like this since we, killed Raven Ash, which in itself was a fantastic moment, but he just... I hope I didn't kill the guy, because everybody else did. I think he might be coming to terms... Well, there's still some... Well... It's incredible what you've done to get here, says Siren. I think you can take it another step further, and I want to be at your side when it happens. You were the first one who didn't twist me to suit your ends, and I'll never forget that. So let's finish what we started. Actually, I think Barrick only has three loyalty to me, so that might be why he's not talking. I think I failed him. I never really liked him too much, so I'm okay with how it turned out. I'm sorry that he is slumbering and I'll just, in a stupor, but whatever. If I don't show Kairos my ability to cast the edict is more than a one-time thing, the attacks will never stop. Striking the Overlord where it hurts, says Verse. Good. I hope the old codpiece feels it from his throne room. Take your best swing, and she nods to the resonator at the center of the spire. The spire awaits your command. Okay. I need to select... No, I don't need to select... Do I? The Northern Empire. It's that thing over there. Can't select anything else. Just this thing over here. And we have more edicts. Excuse me. The last time around we had the Edict of Fire. And that's the malediction. Did we have that? No. We had Edict of Stone and Edict of Storms. But now we have the Nightfall and Malediction. The Edict of Nightfall brings permanent darkness to the land. Plants will wither, animals will sicken, and people will slowly freeze without the sun's warmth. That's quite a powerful one. What about the Malediction one? The Edict of Malediction will twist the strands of fate, causing misfortune and bad luck to plague your enemies. That's an interesting one. The balance of fate is shifted for all those within the region, so I got more skills on everything. That's actually really, really good. So bad luck. Because this will destroy them all, and it will punish more the people than anything else. I really want to do this one, also because it was the one that we trained, that we studied. So yeah, let's do this thing. By casting the Edict of Malediction on the northern capital, you consign the Overlord city to an invisible plague of misfortune and calamity. The foundations of once proud buildings fracture under some unseen pressure. The whole districts empty as the city's infrastructure crumbles. Laborers brought in to repair the damage find their work undone hours or even minutes later. Citizens leave the city a ghost town and whisper among themselves how Kairos could allow such a curse to infect their homeland. As chaos ensued in the Northern Kingdom, the armies marching on the tiers received an unprecedented order. The armies were to fall back to the capital and ensure the safety of its people from the edict. For the first time in Kairos' great conquest, the armies retreated. Soon, questions would be asked in a hushed breath across the lands about what new and terrible power had emerged that could force the hand of the Overlord. You fulfilled Kairos' decree, and all the tiers is now ruled by a single Archon. Your former rivals have either submitted to you or perished, bringing the civil war to a close. Neither of the Archons charged with conquering the tiers impressed you enough to follow their lead. You ultimately defied your orders, seeing a better way to gain control. Eliminating every Archon who dared stare in your way, you carved your own seat of power in the tiers, keeping yourself independent from the Northern Empire. In their pride, the disfavored never imagined themselves beaten, especially when their opponents appeared so disorganized. The last remnants of the Legion disperse, their general destroyed, their honor broken beyond mending. The scorn that follows their humbled ranks haunts them even in the depths of obscurity. The Scarlet Chorus may have been mighty in numbers, but that didn't stop you from thoroughly scattering them, cutting off the Serpent's head and sending each of the gangs howling back to the chaos they sowed. How the remnants of the Horde occupy themselves without a war to fight becomes a topic for nightmares. Word of your success spreads beyond the tiers as well. Even the most distant corners of the Empire whisper of the Fatebinder who rose to become an Archon, and an Archon whose interventions shattered the conquest, making way for a new future in the devastated nation. Without the authority of Kairos' Archons to enforce the Overlord's vision on the world, the fall of the conquest becomes a great revolution. Warring factions struggled for dominance, and infighting is a fact of daily life. Every group insists the situation is an opportunity for the tiers to rebuild as they see fit. With the Edict of Stone dispelled, the earth settles around the Stone Sea, ushering a new age of verdant growth and prosperity. The country may never resemble the glorious realm of Azure, but with new life, many new things become possible. The memory of Cairn as a great force of destruction remains as a monument of inert rock. Most agree that the world is better off without the Archon of Stone, as the people of Azure begin to slowly reclaim the land that was once torn asunder by his power. As the strongest and oldest of their kind, the death of the Stonestalkers is a blow to Beastman culture. Their demise also brings centuries of oral traditions to an abrupt end. The local tribes never recover from their terrible loss. The death of Radix is a huge blow to the disfavored. Without the support of the Mage Guild, the Legion finds itself outclassed for the first time and suffers on the battlefield. Soon after the death of their Archon, the garrison deserted the crumbling fortress of Sentinel's Stand. With the Unbroken all but destroyed, the former citizens of Stalwart slide into lawlessness and begin to fight over what little they can salvage. You put the last of Graven Ash's family to the sword, ensuring the end of his long and decorated lineage. Though you often wonder if more could have been done to prevent the horrible deed, you don't bother yourself wondering for long. Though it takes time to recover from the devastation of the Edict of Storms, the Bladegrave begins its slow march towards healing. The realm of Stalwart may never resemble its former glory, but the land is not so blasted that something new and better can't be built atop the bones of the past. The Regent bloodline has ended. With it, new traditions and legacies spring to life. You eliminated the Scarlet Chorus that plagued the disfavored troops in the Vellum Citadel, cutting a path through them all the way to the Silent Archives. Instead of destroying it, as Graven Ash wanted, you chose to keep it for yourself, realizing the knowledge contained in the scrolls was far more useful in your hands. It's really good that there's an ending vignette for that. I always saw that as something very, very important. By taking the Silent Archive from its pedestal and disrupting the preservation spell holding the Vellum Citadel in stasis, you caused the collapse of the single largest repository of knowledge in Terratus. The world may never know the true extent of the loss. The sages are all but wiped from the tiers. What remains of their hoarded knowledge is vulnerable, as likely to be misused as destroyed. The damage done to the intellectual core of the region is likely beyond reversal. Though small groups of would-be scholars gain influence from time to time, the setback is ultimately too vast to overcome. By withholding the Mage Bane Helm from Lethian's Crossing, you sabotage the city's protection against the Bane haunting its borders from inside the old walls. Sensing the vulnerability in its defenses, an unstoppable wave of Bane invade Lethian's Crossing, wreaking havoc and causing a catastrophic loss of life. The few ragged survivors abandon the city to the Scourges, never to return. You allow the Forge-bound Masters to leave, as her life held no bearing on your greater schemes. With Ash dead and the disfavored floundering, the Forge-bound also fail, having lost their main source of work. Eventually, their numbers dwindle to a handful of skilled forge workers who only take commissions from the very wealthy. By enacting an edict on Vendrion's Well, you announced your power to the world and showed Kyrus' forces that what you were capable of. When you defeated their leaders and scattered the armies before you, it sent the message to Kyrus: a new Archon is born. While the edict dissipated, its effect will always be felt as the first true threat to Kyrus' rule. The death of Graven Ash means the end of the disfavored. Without the comfort and support of the great general, what remains of the Legion sinks into hopelessness. The Archon's seat is left vacant, and whether or not it can be occupied again is a heated topic. Far from its place of final rest, the Northern Empire mourns its fallen son. Killing the Voices of Nerat spreads the joy of bloody vengeance across the continent, celebrated as the death of history's greatest parasite. The occasion is marked by all who suffered under the oppression of the Scarlet Chorus. Even in victory, one thought nags you. Though you witnessed his death, you can't help but wonder if the Voices of Nerat is done with you. Tunon, the Adjudicator, continues to dispense justice from his seat in the Bastard City. He follows the laws you craft to the letter, advising on any of the meticulous changes you lack the time or the patience to draft. Without his aid, the task of keeping order in the tiers would be nigh impossible. The fealty of a killer like Bledemark leaves you constantly glancing over your shoulder. You gain a measure of comfort by retaining his skills as a headsman, keeping him busy with assignments that take him far from your seat of power. As the spans pass, you come to rely on his knack for rooting out agents of your enemies, sleep easier under his watchful protection. The death of Graven Ash left Beric a shadow of his former self. He follows you for a time, as much as out of habit as reflex. All agree that there is nothing of him left under the iron shell. He departs your company without a word, assuming a position at the crossroads where he allows himself to rust as solid as any statue. Verse finds herself adrift in the relative peace that follows the conquest. She returns to the field and seeks out young women from rural communities, imparting her fighting skills to only the most passionate. Over the course of many apprentices, she follows the Voices of Nerat's example and forms a personal army, the Callous Sisterhood. Verse proves to be a strict leader, and you hire her service often, confident that she'll take any assignment where there's blood to be spilled. Did she have... You noticed that she had different colored eyes? Oh, that's badass. She's such a cool character. Lantry shifts focus from writing about your accomplishments and spends more time with your spires, contemplating their mystery and unraveling their secrets. The research he uncovers about your stronghold proves invaluable. Some days, you feel as if there are few secrets the old librarian has not already learned. With quiet satisfaction, Lantry persists in working, his wandering days behind him. In one fell swoop, you ended the life of the last Tidecaster in all of Terratus. Her power and legacy was yet another casualty of the conquest of the Tears. Gills in Shadows shows little interest in clearing up the Tears after your victory. Instead, she takes it upon herself to hunt down every disfavored soldier in the country. You hear frequent words of maulings and disappearances among Kyrus' ranks, perpetrated by a beast of legendary ferocity. Though you could no doubt track down your wayward companion, you let her continue the bloody work, out of equal parts respect and fear. Without the threat of the Overlord's control, Sirin struggles with how to manage her freedom. Inspiration finally strikes her, and she unravels the Tears visiting the small villages ravaged by Kyrus' occupation. She sings to the frightened and hurt villages, buoying their spirits and allaying their fears. Guilt for her hand in the horrors wrought upon the world by the Scarlet Chorus spur her, and her wonders become more and more spectacular. The followers of the Songbird grow in number, taking the message of peace and harmony throughout Terratus. By abandoning your decorated career in Kyrus' military, you gave the Tears room to define the path ahead. The future will not be mapped by foreign ideals or the will of a distant autocrat. It is only a matter of time before the Overlord launches a retaliation. You will be ready to face it. Without allies, the winds are especially cold atop your spire. You wait Kyrus' inevitable advance, brooding over the decisions that led you to this point. Though the Tears are a friendless place, they are indisputably your new home. And with that, we have Tyranny. What a fantastic game. I really need to play this again, different times. I think I missed my opportunity to actually look after the Tears. My character wasn't about that. My character wasn't trying to save the people. I really didn't hold any allegiance from the beginning. So it's good. It's really good that there's consequence, you know? There's consequence to what I did. I lost a lot of knowledge in the library. The people of Stalwart, they suffered. Really the only place where I did good was the one with the Archon that we killed. And that's where we betrayed. That actually tells a lot about what those guys were up to. Only when we betrayed both Graven Ash and the Voices of Nerat did we actually help the people. Anyway, what a fantastic game. Honestly, just a brilliant game. I don't know. Definitely the best RPG of 2006. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But it was unfortunately a very poor year in terms of RPGs. Not very many very new things came out. But this is a fantastic game. If you don't have it, please, by all means, go ahead and buy it. You will find good stuff in it, even if you don't like any particular aspects of the game. Like, if you like reading, and you don't like combat, you can put it on easy. The AI does his job very well. Well, that kind of explains a lot of things, doesn't it? Anyway, yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, by all means, get this game, play it over and over again, because, yep, big salute over there, because I am gonna be playing this. I don't know if there's so many games that I need to play. Maybe I was gonna play this on stream on a different playthrough, maybe not. I am currently playing through The Witcher 3, and I'm enjoying that game very much as well. but I think I prefer this one. As good as The Witcher 3 is, this one is better. It's just so badass. And let me just oh, by the way, Justin Bell, the guy that made the fantastic soundtrack. It is such a fantastic soundtrack, seriously. And he's a brand new guy. It's not like a big name in the industry of composing. He did I think he only did Tyranny before this. Before that, he was just a sound designer. And yeah, is in-house talent from Obsidian, I think. Yeah, Justin Bell, something to look forward to, because this is definitely probably my favorite soundtrack of all time is this game. It's so great. It's so great. But anyway, I just wanted, yeah, going back to what I was saying, I wanted to address something which is a lot of, probably the main criticism aimed at this game. I had read some headlines on reviews and stuff like that, and the thing that really stood out the most for me was people that were saying the ending was sudden. I don't feel that the ending was sudden. I really feel that in my playthrough, I probably got more than a lot of people would have, because I kind of did half of this and half of that. And probably it's the way I did it is probably the one that I didn't do it on purpose, but I looked into doing the longest playthrough you can do with this game. Unless, of course, the Voice of Nerad has a longer campaign, which I doubt, but it could be. And because of that, I really felt that the ending was actually drawn out. So that might, because the thing is, as I told you like 10 episodes ago, I think, when we first like right after we betrayed, when we first got attacked. It wasn't probably 10 episodes ago, but when we first got attacked by Graven Ash, and when we cast an edict, that is the beginning of the end. And I think that even though I don't particularly like the separation of the story by chapters, because it really serves not a whole lot of purpose, but there is a purpose in that this game could have benefited from if it had separated itself by chapters. Even if they weren't, you know, if that was chapter 3 is always going to be this, and chapter 4 is always going to be this, it doesn't need to be like that. I mean, it's a free-form storyline, so you just separate it by chapters depending on what the player does. The game doesn't have to have a set number of chapters, but if the last one started when we cast our edict, then I think people would see the ending as more drawn out. Because I actually feel that it was about as drawn out, maybe a little bit less in all fairness, but about as drawn out as Pillars of Eternity's ending, which I didn't feel as rewarded by the ending itself, as definitely I didn't feel as rewarded as this one. Although I had a huge smile in my face when I finished Pillars of Eternity, because the ending was just, I liked the consequences. But as for the story itself, there were a lot of questions still left unanswered. I think like a couple of characters that never really came to fruition in a lot of stuff that I saw. Possibility of good things coming in the future. But for this game, I think the questions were all answered. I think we closed all of the. Oh, it's going back. It's going back. Yeah, let's go back to the main screen. Unless this is some sort of... Oh, there it is. Yeah, a fitting screen. Oh. Yeah, so basically I feel that the ending was really well done, really well delivered, and I believe I believe the future holds great things for Obsidian. Now, I have a reservation, and I've said this many times during the Let's Play. They need to make this turn-based. Please, Obsidian, make a turn-based game. They have hinted at that. Actually, Josh Sawyer has hinted at that multiple times. And if they ever do, and especially because of what he said, it's gonna be an amazing game. It's gotta be. You guys know I don't like RNG. Well, some of you might know that I don't like RNG too much. I don't dislike it on principle, but one game that I really enjoyed was Hard West, and it is because it has a what's the word? Basically, it doesn't have RNG. That game doesn't have RNG. It has to hit chances, but they don't work as to hit chances. And it's a really great game. If you want to check out the Let's Play, I got a link at the end of the video. But that's what Josh Sawyer, the lead director of Obsidian, that's what he wants to do. And they have Tim Kaine and Boyarsky working on something. They haven't said what it is, but they are working on something. They have confirmed that they are working on something. But I don't think it's going to be turn-based, that one, unfortunately. But if it is, I don't know. This game shows that Obsidian is heading towards a direction that I really like. Pillars of Eternity took too much, I think, and I'm rambling, I know, but, you know, You are still here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for still being here. But I really feel that Pillars of Eternity was held back too much by having to stick with Baldur's Gate formula in a lot of regards, and also they went a little bit for quantity. I mean, in the storyline, there's a lot of paths to take. There's a lot of things that happen, and that prevented a very big branching storyline that would have happened halfway through the game because they didn't have time to do that. So basically, the game is linear in the main storyline, and much like Baldur's Gate, really. So in that, it really didn't affect it being Pillars of Eternity being the spiritual successor to Baldur's Gate, but this game really is not held back by that. It uses the same engine, sure. It's got phenomenal writing. It's got the best female character I have ever seen, personally. And I realize that's a bit of an artificial distinction, because Siren would have been, if she was a man, it would have been the same exact thing. It would have been just as good, and I didn't even read all the things with her, so I can only imagine how good it actually is. I mean, I can only imagine by the things I have read and we have seen. She is so well written. But Obsidian really, I personally think Obsidian has fantastic writers. I can't name them. There's one guy that I really like. It's Feiner Master or something. I don't know. He's a level designer, I think. And Siren was actually written by level designers as well. So yeah, they have fantastic writers. I'm really looking forward to the future of Obsidian. I know they're handling their finances finally are stable. So, I mean, at least according to what they've said, they're doing a tanks game called Armored Warfare, which is phenomenal, by the way. If you like World of Tanks, please play Armored Warfare. That game is amazing. I might actually play it on the channel. And I don't know what they're doing next. I know there's a new Vampire the Masquerade game to come out, but it's not by Tyranny. Yeah, if you haven't read the news, it's by Cyanide? Cyanide. I think that's how it's pronounced. Cyanide, the guys that made Blood Bowl, or Blood Bowl, or however you pronounce that, and Pro Cycling Manager, something like that. Yeah, they don't really have. Oh, also the new Space Hulk game, Warhammer 40k Space Hulk. But yeah, it's gonna be an action game most likely. The Paradox has announced that, but I really want to see Vampire Bloodlines do. If Paradox don't do that, they're smart guys. All things considered, they have a lot of smart people in there. I know they're a big company. That's why I say all things considered. But yeah, I can't wait for the future. And if you're watching this many months or maybe years, or I don't know how long after this video has go up, leave a comment down below. Like the video as well. I mean, if YouTube is still around or wherever you're watching this, thank you so much for sticking with me. Guys, I honestly mean it every single time. I know I say it always the same because I can't keep. It just, you know, I just fall into a rhythm. But I mean it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. What a fantastic game. See you next time. Bye bye.